Hi, welcome to today's webinar. Whether you're joining me live or you're watching the recording, I am very excited to dive in and share more on the topic of gentle nutrition and how you can practice practical strategies that are going to help you reduce food guilt and maintain balance while still enjoying all of your favorite food. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Taylor Deacon. I have been a registered dietitian for over 4 years now with experience in eating disorders, sports nutrition, plant-based nutrition, and cardiac rehab. And I myself grew up and had a very disordered relationship with food throughout middle and high school, which definitely related to how I felt with my body image and different insecurities that I had. And I also always wanted to learn more about nutrition, and I've always loved cooking and food in general. So all of this combined drew me to becoming a registered dietitian where now I can help others create a healthier relationship with food while still prioritizing their overall health with intuitive eating and gentle nutrition with my private practice, Lifelong Wellness Goals. And Lifelong Wellness Goals started in 2021, and truly my goal is to help you and anyone I work with take a non-diet, non-restrictive approach to healthy eating, which truly does look different for everyone. So today I want to look more into the concepts that I encourage those I work with to practice in order to achieve a healed and a healthy relationship with food. So there are some key concepts that support a general balance with food and enjoying it in a way that still prioritizes your health. So today we're going to focus on the three key habits that can help you maintain balance with the food you love while also practicing gentle nutrition. And then we'll also dive into tips to switch from a restrictive to a permissive mindset for a healthier relationship and mental connection with food. And if you are joining me live, I will be saving time at the end for Q&A. And if you are watching the recording, you can always ask your questions in the comment section of this video and I can answer them there. But first, let's dive into each of these concepts more in depth, as these are the three keys to creating balance with the food that you love. Now, consistency is key because it supports a stable blood sugar and energy with consistent eating throughout the day and helps you feel more in tune and balanced with your hunger and your fullness cues and food choices. Variety really matters because it also supports stable blood sugar, longer lasting energy, and helps you feel both physically and mentally satisfied from the food choices that you're making. And then giving yourself full permission to enjoy the food you love is how you create a healthier relationship with food that has less guilt, stress, emotional eating, and less chaotic eating patterns. So let's dive into each of these specifically and why they're so important. Consistency really is key. And what I mean when I say consistency is that you're eating enough within a reasonable time frame to avoid low blood sugar, energy, focus, and more. What's recommended to help you be more consistent is typically eating between every 3 and 4 hours, but this can vary based on the previous meal or snack that you ate and your hunger levels as well. And I will share more tips about how to be consistent with your eating habits and generally stay on that every 3 to 4 hour mark. But for now, let's talk about what happens when you lack consistency in your day-to-day eating schedule with the swimming pool analogy. So think about when you were a kid in the pool with your friends, your family, your cousins. Did you ever play that game to see who could hold their breath the longest underwater? what would happen when you would come up for air after holding your breath for a long period of time? You're gasping for air. This is your body overcompensating so that it can get as much oxygen back into its system in a small period of time because it went too long without any of the supplies of what it needed, in this case, oxygen. But your body responds this exact same way when it lacks proper energy or food throughout the day. It's going to overcompensate, and that is why you can find yourself eating a lot later on in the evening or having high or intense cravings evening when you have fasted or lacked consistency during the day. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you or that you did anything wrong. However, again, it's just your body protecting you and trying to make up for what it missed out on earlier in the day. But now that we know what a lack of consistency can lead to, let's talk about how to actually get on a consistent eating schedule. Number one, planning ahead. So this can just be thinking about the meal ideas that you want to eat, having your partner or family members pick one option for the week to ease the mental load on yourself. Having weekly theme nights, which can make choosing dinner options easier each week. So maybe you do something like a meatless Monday, Taco Tuesday, Stir Fry Wednesday, Crock Pot Thursday, and Pizza Friday. And this allows you to have some general categories to pick from and choose the meals you're going to eat during the week, but can help you still incorporate variety because you can choose different cuisines or meal choices from those categories. Other things you can do is keep a list in your notes app, your notebook, saved recipes on social media websites like TikTok or Instagram that you can go back to and help you try some new recipes to help implement into your weekly plan. And meal planning and prepping can fall under this category of planning ahead. And it doesn't have to be an all-day event where you're cooking the same protein, vegetable, and grain, and then packing it away in containers to eat the same thing over and over again. Although if you do like this is okay. But for most people I work with, this isn't realistic, and we all tend to want more variety. So, prepping ahead of time can be as simple as prepping ingredients. You could wash and chop your produce up and keep it in the fridge so that it's easy to grab out and have as an addition to a snack or a meal very easily. You can also do this with carbohydrate and protein food group. Maybe you pre-cook rice for the week in a big batch so that you can add it to different meals throughout the week for a carbohydrate source. You could also do this with protein, maybe putting together or creating some shredded chicken in the crock pot and adding this to soup, salad, or other recipes throughout the week, but still allowing you to vary what you're eating just using similar ingredients. We can also prioritize convenience foods like 90-second rice, pre-chopped produce, salad kits, frozen entrees, or fruit and vegetable. I do understand there can be concerns with consuming these type of food choices with all the messages we see on social media these days, but they do truly have their time and place. And when we allow ourselves to rely on them from time to time, number one, it doesn't affect our health as much as it would if we were eating those type of foods all the time or exclusively. And number two, it can also help reduce stress, save you time, which can also be beneficial for your health. And a couple more things to consider to help you get on a consistent eating schedule, especially if you're someone who is on the go often and you're not home or you're in your car a lot. Making sure that you have to-go car or purse snacks available. So this can be really simple as just having a nice bag or container that you stock up however often, whether it's weekly or monthly or maybe the night before with some easy travel snacks like a granola bar, trail mix, fruit like apple or banana or an orange that travel pretty easily. You could also do something like fruit snacks or just something that's easy to travel with. That way, if you're out and about all day and you want to make sure you're being consistent and not maybe have to rely on takeout food or stop somewhere, you've got those snacks with you and can easily give your body some nourishment until you're home to get your next meal. And also, you can just stock these up or keep it ready to go next to where you walk out for the day so that you can just grab it and go and it doesn't have to sit in your car unless the weather allows and you can just let those food options sit in your car overnight as well. And then the last thing to help you stay on a consistent eating schedule is to make sure that you have your favorite staples always stocked. We all have our major staples we go to, like bread, cheese, milk, eggs. Those are very common, but we also have our favorite snack and meal choices that we like to go to. And if these things aren't stocked, then of course it's going to be harder to be consistent because we don't have what we need available to put together these balanced meals and things that help us feel nourished. So just always making sure you have things stocked. And then another thing, which we'll dive a lot more into in a few more slides, is when you keep your favorite type of snacks stocked, especially ones that you either have felt out of control around in the past or you still do now, the more you're around those foods, the more you expose yourself to them and use the tips that I'm sharing with you today, the more normal these foods become in your life and you're not overdoing it with them simply because they feel like an off-limit food. So that's another important reason to keep your staples stocked, not only the ones that you're not having a problem or a challenge with, but the ones that you tend to struggle a bit more with and expose yourself to them more. And again, we're going to dive more into that topic soon, but I do want to talk first about variety and why this matters so much because it truly can support a stable blood sugar and also longer lasting energy so that you feel both physically and mentally satisfied from the food choices you're making. In a similar way to the swimming pool analogy that explains why we might overdo it with food in general when we lack enough of it, this same thing can happen with certain food groups if we're not getting enough of them. This is really common with the carbohydrate food group because a lot of people try to cut back or are not eating enough of it as it is our body's main and preferred source of energy. When we eat carbohydrate containing food, it gets digested and broken down into glucose, which is our brain and red blood cells' main and favorite source of energy. So when we're not getting enough carbohydrates, whether it's intentional or unintentional, we are more likely to start craving more of it. This is another reason why you might find yourself having stronger cravings, especially for quicker carbohydrate sources later on in the evening. Things like dessert, chip, cookies, candy, fruit, crackers, any of those type of foods that contain carbohydrates, but the type that are digested and absorbed more quickly, our body tends to crave more when we're either lacking consistency or lacking variety in our day because it again wants to protect us and make up for what we missed out on during the day. And in the case of not getting enough variety or enough of the carbohydrates during the day, it then will crave the ones that it can digest and absorb more quickly because it wants to be able to use that energy as quickly as it can. So, again, this is another reason why we might have those intense cravings later on when we lack not only variety, but consistency as well. They can tie together, or one or the other can affect this. So, now let's talk about what can truly help you to create balanced meals that can encourage more variety. Of course, creating balanced meals doesn't require perfection, but it's still important, even with the intuitive eating framework, and it is a practice of gentle nutrition. There are a lot of benefits to creating balanced meals, such as ensuring that your body does receive a variety of nutrients like carbs, protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals without focusing on rigid rules or restriction. It helps you feel more satisfied and full and be more in tune with your hunger and fullness cues, as well as maintain more stable blood sugars and energy, which can prevent extreme mood and hunger swings throughout the day. It also can promote more of that body trust because you're creating balanced meals that can help you be more in tune with your signals and how different food combinations can make you feel. So it promotes more self-awareness around your food choices. And then it also can help you be more mindful because you're in a better mindset to be able to foster that deeper connection with your hunger, fullness, and satisfaction cues. And one last important benefit is that it also encourages variety without fear. And balanced meals provide us an opportunity to incorporate a lot of different food and food groups, different flavors, textures, which can help make eating more enjoyable and more flexible. So these benefits just really emphasize nourishment and body trust while promoting that positive, non-restrictive relationship with food. And the food groups on this slide here are what I encourage all my clients to focus on when creating satisfying meals. As we mentioned earlier, carbs are our body's main and preferred source of energy, providing our brain, red blood cells, and muscles solely with that glucose to help us function and do what we do day to day. But carbs on their own are not as beneficial when they're paired with a combination of either protein and fat and other colors. It can help support that longer lasting energy that can get us through our day without thinking about food as often. And fat also helps promote more satisfaction and absorbs our fat soluble vitamins so that they can be used properly in our body. So our fat soluble vitamins, which are vitamins A, D, E, and K, are often found in our colorful fruits and vegetables. So I like to use a real life example to how beneficial it can be to put these combinations together and how they can promote your body's overall health. So for example, a salad. When we're using a variety of vegetables in a salad, like dark leafy greens, carrots, cucumbers, tomatoes, or any other colorful fruit or vegetable, again, we're providing our body with not only fat or not only fiber, vitamins, minerals, but again, those fat soluble vitamins. When we pair that salad with our favorite dressing or an oil and a vinaigrette that provides fat, we're not only adding more satisfaction with flavor and filling nutrients to that salad, we're also helping the vitamins that are in the vegetables be absorbed by being combined with the fat in the dressing or oil. And then we can also go as far as adding a protein source to that salad to feel more full and satisfied, like that shredded chicken, a hard-boiled egg, or your favorite beans like chickpeas or black beans. And some other examples of what you could add to this is that carbohydrate food group. So maybe you add croutons or you have a side roll or a side sandwich with your salad to get that carbohydrate and more satisfaction from that meal. Some other real life examples could be pairing rice with chicken and vegetables, and then an avocado for a fat source. And then we could also do something like pizza, which would provide carbohydrates through the crust. Cheese would be our fat and protein source as well, because it can fall under those two categories. We could also get protein from any source on the pizza, like chicken, pepperoni, ham, or again, just simply have the cheese, and that would cover both the fat and protein food group. And then possibly you're adding vegetables to your pizza, or you're even doing a side salad so that you're getting all of the combination of food groups in those meal examples. So now that you're more aware of some of the most important food groups to combine together to emphasize variety and make sure that you're getting a good variety of these nutrients to feel more satisfied. Let's talk about that last key concept to maintaining a comfortable balance with the food you love while also practicing gentle nutrition. So, of course, I understand the whole idea of intuitive eating is to have unconditional permission to eat the food you love without guilt. And intuitive eating and gentle nutrition go hand in hand. And I can understand that overdoing it with any food choice can end up feeling really uncomfortable and sometimes out of control if you're not actually giving yourself full permission. So that's why I want to encourage you to make sure you're practicing this last concept so you can actually enjoy the food you love in ways that still support your health and help you feel your best overall. So, switching your mindset from restrictive to permissive thoughts around food can really help you feel less control around the foods that you might not feel as in control around or don't have full permission to enjoy yet. And I'm using ice cream as an example because it's a really common food that I see the clients I work with who feel out of control around when we first start working together. And they often have a lot of thoughts that make them feel like they're not allowed to eat something like ice cream without being out of control around it, which will often lead to really urgent action where you end up eating the ice cream in an out of control way or overindulging simply because you want to stop thinking about it so much or just get it out of your house or away from you. When we work on the concepts we've been talking about today, as well as switching those thoughts to more of the permissive mindset, where we say, I can have that ice cream whenever I'd like. However, I also don't want to go overboard because I know I wouldn't feel that great if I did. That can lead to more mindful action where we can enjoy that ice cream in a mindful way and not overdo it, and even leave it in the freezer for a longer period of time without thinking about it. So, here are some real life examples of practicing switching your restrictive mindset to permissive thoughts with some of the clients I've worked with in the past who really struggled with ice cream. And I want to share these because it really shows that when they started, they had more of a restrictive mindset. And when we finished working together and working through all of the concepts that we've talked about so far today, this is what's happened. So, client number one used to feel out of control around not only ice cream, but things like chips and bread as well. So, for them in the beginning, having things like ice cream or those things in the house, they were having more of that restrictive mindset and leading to urgent action where they were eating that type of food pretty much all in one sitting in the evening. By the time we finish working together, they're now able to have a tub of ice cream in their freezer, have chips and bread in their pantry, and it has been there for weeks, even sometimes months on end, because they're not feeling so out of control and they're able to enjoy these type of foods mindfully and create that mindful action with it. The other client I've worked with was one of those people who before would have ice cream in the house and then they would just eat it all at once because they couldn't stop thinking about it and they just wanted to stop. So they wanted to get it out of their house and they'd eat it all at once. When they applied the concepts we worked together that we've talked about today through our work together and practice that permissive mindset, they're now able to have their husband bring home 2 pints of their favorite Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and it can sit in their freezer without a thought, without them going for it unless they're actually craving it and allowing themselves to enjoy it mindfully. So, again, just really wanting to show these to you because it really emphasizes that importance of changing that mindset. And it's also important to note that this can take time. And if you've had that restrictive mindset for a while, for years, for months, it is going to take some intentional awareness and shifts. But over time, the more you start to say those permissive thoughts to yourself, the more they become your normal, and it's more of a habit that this happens, just like it did with the restrictive mindset. It doesn't happen overnight, but the more you practice it, the easier it can get. So let's wrap up with tips to practice gentle nutrition, the last principle of intuitive eating that encourages a combination of food you enjoy to eat with the food that can support your physical and your mental health. It includes all of the concepts that we've talked about today: consistency, variety, balance, freedom, and flexibility. But remember that gentle nutrition is the last principle of intuitive eating for a reason. When you're just leaving the dieting world, some of these concepts we've talked about today in gentle nutrition can actually feel a little bit more like you're back in that diet mindset. But it really is just important to remember your intention behind your food choices and to go at your own pace. So if gentle nutrition does feel a little more of like that diet mindset to you right now, more than likely that's just a sign you need to focus a bit more on the permission to enjoy the food you love first, and then practice gentle nutrition over time. But if you're ready now, or whether you're going to implement this over time, let's talk about how you can actually implement it and also take that approach of what can you add versus what do I have to take away with gentle nutrition? Because we know the what do I have to take away is typically the approach in the dieting world, or is. So here are some questions that you can ask yourself when deciding what to eat and practicing gentle nutrition. Number one, what sounds good to me in this moment? And another thing to consider in this moment is, what's going on? How much time do I have? So let's again use a real life example. Let's say for dinner, you don't have a lot of time. You have to go pick up your son from practice and you need to put something together quickly so that when you get home, it's ready. You remember that you have a frozen pizza in the freezer and decide that this sounds satisfying and it's actually just going to be convenient for the time being. However, you go on to that second question of what can I add to make this more nourishing? And you think that, the pizza alone isn't really going to fill you up unless you were to eat a few slices, which you don't want to do as well because for you personally, when you eat too much dairy, cheese, you don't feel that great. So in this moment, you decide while the pizza is cooking that you're going to make a small side salad with the salad kit that you bought earlier in the week so that you have that with the pizza and you can eat maybe one or two slices and fill up with the salad as well, instead of not having the salad and feeling like you have to eat maybe three or four slices of pizza in order to feel full, but then feeling uncomfortable. So again, that is the approach you can take to practice gentle nutrition in real life and use those questions that you're seeing on the slide to work through it. And let's do one more example of how you can do that. And in this example, let's say you've got a lot of time. So maybe you were traveling all weekend, you're home on a Sunday, and you're actually really just craving something fresh like vegetables because you've been eating out with all the travel you've been doing. You also have that side salad in there, or that side salad or salad kit available, but just the veggies won't be enough to keep you full and satisfied. So you notice that you have some hard-boiled eggs available or canned chickpeas that you can quickly rinse off to add for some protein. And then you also know you would like to make sure you get your carbohydrate source. So you go ahead and you add the croutons and your favorite dressing as the fat source that's going to help absorb the nutrients in your veggies of the salad. So again, another real life example of how you can practice gentle nutrition in real life. And now that you have the key concepts to help you practice gentle nutrition, before we get into Q&A for those of you that are here live, I want to make sure I share an amazing offer with you that's going to help you continue your intuitive eating and gentle nutrition journey. So if you're ready to break free from restriction and confusion with nutrition, my course, Simply Nourished Nutrition Made Easy, is a 7-week step-by-step guide that helps you create balanced meals that nourish your body, support your health, and give you the energy to be present and enjoy life without the guilt. This course is here to guide you back to the basics of nourishing your body in a way that supports not only your current health, but the future that you want to build. So, if you feel confused by the mixed messages and diet trends online and you want to end this confusion and have a better understanding, if you also struggle with low energy, poor focus, or find yourself constantly thinking about food and you'd like to improve, and you're looking for a no nonsense, non restrictive approach to nutrition that fits into your busy life, then Simply Nourished Nutrition Made Easy is exactly what you need, and it's yours for 25% off by using promo code Nourished25 at checkout. So if you scan the QR code here using your phone and enter in Nourished25 at checkout, you'll receive that 25% discount on the course. And I will leave this slide up for a moment while we're answering Q&A for anyone who's joining us live, so that if you want to access the course and use the QR code and see the promo code, you can do that. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you were here live or you're watching the recording. I truly hope that you learned more and can now go practice gentle nutrition in a way that allows you to maintain balance with all the foods that you love and enjoy it in a way without guilt.